I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. Just stick and move. And just waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my co-host, Sam. And today we are talking about the greatest boxing records of all time, the greatest feats in boxing history. So let's not waste any time. Sam, punch me in the face. Who is your number 3 greatest boxing feat record, whatever you want to call it, of all time, brother?
Yeah, I would have to say, just here on the top of my head, I'm going to have to say the 89-0 record from Chavez.
Ooh.
Yes, people still talk about it today.
Right.
I mean, Chavez coming from Sinaloa, Mexico, people, were criticizing because he was coming to the U.S., saying, who has he really fought? He was 89-0, brother.
Right.
89-0. And he came to America, bro, and knocked out probably the fastest hands in boxing in Meldrick Taylor, bro. A gold medalist, man.
Right.
The guy became an icon. He carried a whole country, and all the fans that he had here in America. And he, under Don King, he was the talk of the town in Las Vegas, and I mean nationwide, bro. You know what I'm saying? He still remains arguably the best Mexican fighter to ever come out of Mexico. I mean, people talk about it today. Who's going to be the next greatest Mexican boxer of all time? And there's some people who want to give it to Canelo, and there's some people that don't. And then there's some people that mention Salvador Sanchez, but it was too soon for him. Seeing another Chavez, bro, going in 89-0 is a feat that I think is going to be hard for anybody to ever accomplish again.
Especially nowadays where boxers are only fighting once or twice a year. Oh, bro. I mean, look at Stevenson. What is he at 19 or 21 fights, if I'm not mistaken? I'm just going off the top of my head. The pace that he's going, by the time he clears out and moves all the way up or whatever he wants to do with his career, by the time he's considered an all-time great, he'll probably be 25, 26 fights? I mean, come on, bro. Where is that hunger? But look, I'll go back to Julio Cesar Chavez. I love that pick. I don't have him on my list. But that 89-0, bro, is probably, in my opinion, if you and I have a top 3 most controversial boxing topics, it's definitely on there because of what you said. A lot of people are like, who was he fighting in 89 fights? And to me, it's like, bro, he was always fighting top contenders. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there were some in-between bouts where the boxer had a losing record. But, bro, when you're fighting 5, 10, 12 plus times a year, it's hard to get top contenders to fight all the time. You got to remember, at this time, the pay wasn't as good as what it is today. When you're a top-coming boxer like Julio Cesar Chavez was in the mid to early 80s, you had to earn every single penny. He tried to fight as many times as possible. And what makes it even more impressive is, yes, controversial man, Don King, when he grabbed a hold of him, the idea that the 3 biggest boxers of the 80s and early 90s was Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, and Julio Cesar Chavez just blows my mind. At a featherweight, a Mexican featherweight would captivate an entire audience. He transcended not only Mexican fans, but he had plenty of American fans and across the world. So I'm okay with that being your number 3, my man.
Yeah, bro, people have to understand, this dude came from Mexico, bro.
Right.
Come from Mexico. They come over here beating the champion of Mexico, and I think it was Carlos Zarate, beating him, knocking him out, and then coming over here. Dude, bro, Vegas was sold out when Chavez showed up.
Dude, it was like you said on our podcast, it was a holiday when he fought, especially where we're from in South Texas. But I agree with you, brother.
All right, so who's your number 3?
My number 3, I'm going across to the... Hey guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby. Caribbean or Caribbean, whatever you want to pronounce it. If I offend, I apologize. But I'm going with Fredo Gomez, 32 wins, 32 consecutive KOs in 32 fights, brother. Here is a guy going into that bantamweight, featherweight division. And, dude, the idea, I mean, I know he had to draw his first fight ever. But after that, going 32 consecutive fights with 32 knockouts, it just goes to show you at that time in the 80s and early 70s, what kind of boxer you had to be to earn your pay, I guess, right? So whenever I watch those old school fights from the 70s and 80s, especially those bantamweights and those lightweights, it was all headhunting. So I'm not surprised that he had 32, he was 32 for 32 when it came to these knockouts, man. And let's not forget, bro, you brought him up a little while ago. He was 32 for 32, and his first loss being against Salvador Sanchez, who knocked out Gomez.
Yes.
So that just goes to show you the era that he was dealing with at the time. It was a violent, very explosive division where it's kind of often forgotten about the bantamweights and the featherweights of the time. They're kind of, and even to this day, people don't really talk about the bantamweights and featherweights that often, but it goes to show you that if you're going to get into that ring, even to this day, you better show up and you better have your guard as high as possible, because when you got in the ring with Fredo Gomez, good night, brother. That guy was going to knock you into the middle of next week, and it wasn't even going to be close. So that is my number 3. You have any thoughts?
Yes, and just like Chavez, Gomez carried a country on his back, bro.
Exactly.
He carried a country on his back, and those fights were brutal, bro. And he fought some monsters. And the dude had some knockout power, man.
Right.
The guy had knockout power. 32 knockouts, bro, is
32
ridiculous.
for 32. Insane, bro.
Insane. I mean, the guy was an icon in Puerto Rico. I mean, dude, to have a whole country backing you up, man. Then the way the crowd was, if y'all see the fight when he had with Sanchez, I mean, it was a circus in there, bro.
Oh, bro, those were the best times to watch. Those old tapes are available now on YouTube. Pay attention to the crowd.
Man, that is crazy.
Puerto Rico and Mexico, when they get into I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind. When they get into an arena to watch boxing, when it's PR versus Mexico, bro, even if it's going to be a one-sided fight where we know who's going to win, the crowd is always involved. Look at the Puerto Rico when it was Trinidad versus De La Hoya, bro. The Puerto Rican fan base was absolving, very rare times, louder than the Mexican crowd. And it was like a circus, like you said. Awesome, controlled fiasco of a chaos when it comes to that crowd. So anyways, back to Gomez. That is my number 3. What is your number 2? Talk to me, brother.
My number 2, a greatest feat. A greatest feat. I mean, there's many of them, guys. So I understand there's going to be people, no, how could that be one of the greatest? This is just mine, in my experience, in my lifetime that I got to see. One of the greatest feats was in 1990 when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson.
Okay.
When,
all
dude,
right. All the odds. The odds.
Yeah, it was the odds, bro. I didn't even watch. Man, who's gonna watch that, bro?
I
Tyson's gonna knock
remember.
him out in one round. You
I
know,
remember.
dude, that fight in Japan. I mean, I think I don't know where I was at the time, but I remember the shocker, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The shocker that Mike Tyson got knocked out when I saw Mike Tyson reaching for his mouthpiece, bro.
Yeah.
And being counted out. That fight, bro, Buster Douglas, man, fighting. You know, he had just lost his mom. You know, it was a promise that he made. He pulled it off, brother. He pulled off probably one of the biggest upsets in boxing history.
It is the biggest upset in boxing history.
Dude, he had no chance. You know, that's what we all thought. He had absolutely no chance. Not only did he knock out Mike Tyson, he exposed Mike Tyson. He exposed that Mike Tyson can be controlled with a jab and with a hook and an uppercut. And that was it, bro. Distance, uppercut, fight was over, man.
And you know what I loved about that fight too, bro, was that Mike Tyson hit him with a hellacious uppercut, one of the greatest first rounds of all time. But later on in that fight, because Buster Douglas just goes right at him at that first round. Very, very interesting strategy that never worked. But I think it was, what was it, the seventh round, if I'm not mistaken, where Tyson hits him with this uppercut, sends him down to the mat. Douglas down on the mat. Everybody was like, that's it, it's over. But here comes Douglas.
You saw the determination when he started hitting the floor, bro. Determination.
Right.
That was that moment is what makes a man, bro. Right there.
Right, bro. Right. And you know what? Sad to say, and this might be offensive, bro, but all that energy, that determination, that heart, that sangre, that blood that Douglas did to get back up and pull off the greatest upset in your number two being the highest odds, shocking the world, which I'm happy you did. Bro, he didn't. I think that was it for him, bro. Like going on to the next fight with Evander Holyfield, he was already done.
Yeah, he was done.
It was like he was punched out in victory. You know what I'm saying? Because he was never the same. He never had that discipline ever again. He was never a contender. That was it. And you know what? For one night that will live, not only in boxing infamy, brother, but in sports history, bro. F it, man. In life. That's a story where you tell your kid, whether you're a sports family or not, where you tell them this is why you can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And for that one, oh, dude, I'm glad you picked that one. The odds of Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson, I love that.
How many men, how many people in this world can say I was on top of the world one night of my life, bro?
He was, bro.
On top of the world, bro. Anyways, that was my number two. So what is your number two?
Dude, when I was going through all these boxing records and feats and all that stuff, oh, dude, there's so many amazing ones. I don't want to list them now because I might step on one of yours, and we'll do it afterwards. But I'm going to read this because I couldn't believe it. And we have great people that follow our podcast. We thank you. We love you guys very much. But one boxer that we haven't really talked that much about that needs to get their shine, that is always brought up on our comments, is Willie Pep, bro. Iconic name. He even said that the one fighter he would hate to get in the ring with was Salvador Sanchez, but that's a conversation for another day. But Willie Pep had 2 unbeaten streaks of going 60-0 twice, brother. He goes 60-0. I think he lost to who was it? Sadler, if I'm not mistaken. And then Sadie Sadler. Then he goes 60-0 again. I think I have it backwards on the people he lost to. But bro, to go 120, I think his record was, his overall record when he was done was 229 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw, bro. But to go 60-0 twice in an era like we just talked about, where the rules were not as regulated as today, where the gloves were 4 to 6 ounces, give or take, and you pretty much just beat the hell out of each other. Dude, to go have a 60-0 record and then doing it again, that honestly, bro, will never, ever, ever be broken again, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, bro. Willie Pep, bro. He is still mentioned today by many, many boxers, bro, as being one of the all-time greats to lace him up. I mean, the guy was just amazing, bro. To go that many wins, man, in that era, like you say, brutal, bro, brutal times, and bro, he was fighting monsters at those, in those times, man.
Absolutely,
And
McAllister and Sadler, yes, absolutely,
yeah. He just left a history, bro. He's one of the greatest that we've had, and I'm glad I get to see some of his fights on YouTube, man. Great fighter, great choice.
I talked to a boxing historian back when I was in college, way when, and I remember he told me what made Willie Pep phenomenal was not only his non-stop. He was just not only was he just non-stop, but his defense, bro, was second to none. You couldn't hit the guy, considering his defense was head forward. So he was just bobbing and weaving with the straight jabs that would come at him, but he was just so hard to hit. You know, there was no shoulder roll or Philly shell, whatever you want to call it, parry jab coming from Willie Pep. This is a guy that put his nose in his defense, and it was just, he was like a magician in there. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear old historians that I talked to way back, even before our podcast, to even our commenters today, which we love you guys, it just goes to show you that, man, how great Willie Pep was. But I'm going to end with this on that. It's sad, bro, that these great fighters back in the day, Willie Pep, Henry Armstrong, Baby Arismendi, you know, all these guys we talked about in the past, that they're being forgotten, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially nowadays with internet and YouTube and information at the palm of our hands. And these guys are being forgotten at a faster rate than ever. Oh, man. It breaks my heart to say that. But it is what it is. Drum roll, please. What is your number one? Hit me in the face. Go for it.
Okay. My number one greatest feat, this is just my opinion, is Manny Pacquiao, bro. Being a teenager, winning the flyweight title as a teenager, bro. Going through 11 divisions, you know, having 8 titles, bro. I mean, the guy was a monster, bro. Manny Pacquiao still, bro, being a contender in his 40s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And 8 division champ. You know, and bro, that will not ever be repeated again, bro. And it made me sad. It made me sad when I would see him in his final fights, thinking to myself, I'm glad I got to see him fight, bro. But I don't think I'm ever going to see another fighter like him again. I mean, everything he's accomplished, everything he does for his people. I mean, dude, the guy's a mega star. Win, lose, draw. I mean, everybody tuned in to watch this guy. Beautiful style, bro. He's like, for me, he's probably one of my favorite fighters of all time. You know what I'm saying? He's one of my GOATs of all time. And I just don't think that his accomplishments, you know, are ever going to be reached again, in my opinion. Manny Pacquiao right now is my number one greatest feat of all time.
What makes Pacquiao special, bro? I know we're going to get a lot of hate on this, but dude, he went up, 38 pounds in that time frame, if I'm not mistaken, from 112 all the way to being welterweight champ, if I'm not mistaken. So, damn, it just goes to show you, brother, that when he was making this climb through all these belts, that he always wanted the best fighter. You know what I'm saying? whoever the guy was, whether it was Barrera, Morales, Margarito, when nobody wanted to fight Margarito, fights Cotto. Yeah, Cotto was a different guy, but you fight who he went up to attack these guys. You know what I'm saying? He would go up to challenge himself. Yeah, could he have done better timing? If he would have waited off Morales, I know I'm kind of taking shots here. Maybe, but dude, this is why his legacy is going to live on forever, because he got not only into the ring, but he brought that excitement, that interchange with the boxer, that whoever he was fighting, he was going to put on the best show as possible. And he never let you down, dude. Iconic fighter. I love that for your number one. Very controversial.
I want to say something else.
Go for it.
I want to add something. All right. Speaking of Margarito being the champion at where he was at, what was he, 154 something like that? Anyways, Margarito being Manny Pacquiao fought people. I know. Here we come. We're gonna get all the hate comments right here. Manny Pacquiao fought the fighters in that time that at that time Floyd avoided.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And he didn't time him out.
He didn't time
approached
him.
Yeah. He went towards him. All right, I'll gain the weight. I'll lose the weight to go fight you. Yeah. Going back down to fight Barrera, going back up to fight Margarito, going back up again to go fight Cotto. He wanted the names. Whoever the guy was giving, whoever was telling him, or maybe it was just him, this is who you need to fight to improve your legacy. I want to thank that person, bro. Yeah. Did they all end up in victory? No. But the reason why? Because he risked it all.
Oh, that's the beauty of it.
And Floyd Mayweather is famous for saying money over legacy. It was the opposite for Pacquiao. Yes, Pacquiao got paid. No, definitely not. I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying he wanted the money. Of course he did, which is probably why he's still fighting. But he went towards the champs, the boogeymen, that he didn't want to wait out. He was not going to wait out and prolong his career. And he went after them, bro.
Dude, he was going to fight Spence in his prime, brother.
I remember there was times that he was going to go to, he wanted to go up to fight Paul Williams, bro, and Sergio Martinez when he was still fluctuating. I think he was like 2 classes behind him. There was those talks, you know what I'm saying? But Paul Williams had that accident. That's a conversation for another day. But it just goes to show you that you talked enough about it, but I love that you have that you're number one. And that's probably a record. I don't know. Do you think anybody can catch that record?
Look, bro, nobody has the guts that Manny Pacquiao had.
Ooh.
I'm going to say it right there. Nobody had the balls he did.
Right.
Nobody was fearless like Manny Pacquiao was.
A beautiful way of putting it, bro.
Yeah.
Biggest calves I've ever seen. Biggest calves I've ever seen on a boxer too, by the way.
Yeah. So who is your number one?
I have so many listed on here. And I'm gonna chicken out. I'm gonna give you a 1A, a 1B because it's from the same boxer. Okay. I'm going Joe Louis, most consecutive title fights of 25 bouts in a row, brother. That to me just goes to show you the era that he was fighting in, that he like what you just said about Manny Pacquiao. He took on all comers. You want to fight for my belt? Well, you got to be the champ, beat the champ to be the champ. And that's exactly what Joe Louis did. He took on every top contender possible to come at him. The 1B was that he held the heavyweight title. And we talked about this on his episode. He held the heavyweight title for 13 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I think he had, what was it, like 69 fights at that time. He won 66 of the 69 or 70 fights, if I'm not mistaken. Bro, this is a guy, bro, that took over a generation in boxing. And he not only captured the heavyweight title, but he held that thing hostage. Not by prolonging fights like, I'm going to take a break here and there. Dude, 25 26 bouts to come at him, dude, there were, in other words, the other heavyweights had a chance, bro. He was not just going to hold it hostage. They had a chance because he was willing to fight to keep that belt. You have any thoughts on that?
Yes, and I was reading about that. He had gotten knocked down in the second round by James Braddock and came back, bro, to finish him, bro. I mean, they said, you know, that, I mean, the world was watching that fight. And huge, man. Joe Louis, till today, he's still considered, you know, top one, the greatest ever. Pound for pound, greatest ever, bro.
Right. Yeah, dude, he beat Max Bayer. He beat Primo Carrera, bro. This guy had an impressive list of wins, bro, including what you're saying. So, who did you leave off? Talk to me. This is the fun part. Who did you leave off?
I look. You know, the 50-0 record of Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Like it or not. Like it or not, the guy was not defeated. Like he didn't lose, at least to the judges. But I mean, who's gonna be the next 50-0? Who's gonna fight? Who's gonna be 50-0 against so many champions that Floyd fought? Right. I mean, that's a huge feat itself. I mean, he started a trend. He started a trend. You know,
he has a record for what? I think he has a record for defeating 23 title holders. You know, we could debate that. We've had that debate. One I liked also was Bernard Hopkins becoming champ at 49 years old. Was it 48, 49? 50 years old. I wrote down here George Foreman, 21 years between his first title and his last title, from 73 to 94. And I'm going to go a little long here. And I want to shout out one of our commenters. And this goes to P. Fitzgerald. 2EL. He gave a comment on one of our episodes where he turned me on to the fight between Joe Jeanette versus Sam McVeigh, a fight in Paris that lasted 3.5 hours, brother.
Oh, okay.
Where this is back in 1908, if I'm not mistaken, in Paris. Dude, Jeanette would go to the floor 27 times. McVeigh would go to the floor 19 times. This is when boxing was at its infancy. So it made me think of another fight that I've actually heard of. And then when I was doing research, it reminded me, I was like, oh, I've heard about this fight. And this is the longest fight of all time between Andy Bowen versus Jack Burke. In 1893, it went 110 rounds, lasting 7.5 hours, where both fighters would not only break each other's hands, they would lose 10 pounds in this fight and spend, I think it was, I want to say 6 weeks in the hospital. I think for Burke, I could say the wrong one on that. That's how brutal this fight was. This is when they were fighting in basements with other spectators just watching, standing over these guys brawling and giving their entire life. Imagine a 7.5 hour fight, brother.
Wow, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Talk about boxing becoming a full 180 for what it used to be to what it is today. So I can argue that's probably the most unbreakable record. Who knows? All these records that you and I had were fantastic.
Yeah,
I love them. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
Yes, you know, I want to thank everybody that, you know, liking and subscribing to our channel and commenting. If there's anything y'all want us to talk about, we can make an episode on that. And I appreciate every one of y'all, man. And I'll try to get, you know, to all of y'all's questions on the comment section.
And we'll leave it at that, guys. If you get a message from Sam, it's the Stick and Move Sam 75. For me, it's the Stick and Move podcast. Keep the comments coming. Share our podcast so we can continue to grow and we could come up with more episodes. And we'll leave it at that. And like I always like to say, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest. I wish I was 50 years younger and I